Today, we're going to talk about a really fascinating company, one that might just be one of the fastest growing secrets in the entire entertainment world. They're called a Basilic Fly Studio, and their story, it's a masterclass in absolutely explosive growth, but also maybe some hidden risks. So is this a high growth star or a high wire act? That's what we're here to figure out. So who are these guys? Well, think of them as the magicians behind the scenes. You know when you're watching a movie and you see a dragon take flight or a whole city just explode on screen? There's a really good chance a company just like Basilisk Fly is the one making all that magic happen. And just so we're all on the same page, the business they're in is VFX. That stands for visual effects. It's basically all the amazing computer-generated stuff that makes modern blockbusters and big TV shows look so incredible. And look, they are not some small-time operation. I mean, just look at this list. We're talking about the absolute titans of the industry: Netflix, Disney, HBO. When you have a client list like this, you know you're playing in the big leagues. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. Part 1, the rocket ship rise. And trust me, when I say rocket ship, the numbers I'm about to show you prove I am not exaggerating one bit. Okay, so get this. Forget about normal, healthy growth. We're not talking a 20 or 30% bump here. In just a single year, their revenue almost tripled. Yeah, tripled. Just let that sink in for a second. The big headline number for fiscal year 2025 is a whopping 304 crore rupees. For anyone not familiar, a crore is 10 million, so yeah, we're talking about a huge number, especially when you see where they were just 1 year ago. And here's what that looks like. They jumped from 103 crore to 304 crore in 12 months. That's not just growth, that's an explosion. It's the kind of jump that completely transforms a company practically overnight. Now here's the really wild part. They weren't even planning for this to happen. The company had this super ambitious forecast of 95% growth. What did they actually do? 195%. They didn't just hit their target, they basically doubled their own best case scenario. It's pretty incredible. And this doesn't look like a one-time thing either. Their pipeline, the future work they have lined up, is absolutely packed. We're talking 290 crore in confirmed work just from their UK office. With huge projects like Wheel of Time and Doctor Who, they just locked in another 150 crore from the big streamers, and they're expanding into new areas like gaming. The momentum is just undeniable. So with numbers like that, it sounds like a perfect, unstoppable success story, doesn't it? Well, that's when you have to start looking a little closer. And that brings us to part 2, cracks in the foundation. Because you see, when you grow this fast, things can sometimes start to get a little shaky just beneath the surface. Now, to really get the biggest risk here, we need to understand this term trade receivables. It sounds all formal and businessy, right? But it's actually super simple. It's just money that you're owed. You did the work, you sent the bill, but the cash just isn't in your bank account yet. And this is where the story takes a turn. Back in 2022, Basilic Fly had zero in trade receivables, nothing. By 2024, that number had ballooned to 74 crore. I mean, think about that. That's a massive amount of cash that they've earned, but they can't actually use. When you have your own bills to pay, waiting on that kind of money can become a really serious problem. And here's the second red flag. And honestly, this one might be even bigger. While their revenue is going through the roof, their profit margin, that's the percentage they actually get to keep from each sale, is plummeting. It dropped from a super healthy 37% all the way down to 14%. And this is so crucial because it means they're working harder and harder for a smaller and smaller piece of the pie. That is just not a sustainable way to grow a business. So why is that profit margin shrinking? Well, here's why. The VFX industry is brutally competitive. It's just filled with tons of talented studios, all fighting for the exact same projects. And to win those big contracts, you often have to lower your prices, which, you guessed it, eats right into your profits. All right, this brings us to our final section, part 3, the full picture. Let's put these two kind of conflicting stories side by side and really try to understand what's going on with Basilic Fly Studio. So here's the whole story in a nutshell. On one side, you have this absolutely jaw-dropping revenue growth, you've got the trust of Hollywood's biggest studios, and a huge pipeline of work. But on the other side, you have a mountain of unpaid bills, shrinking profitability, and just fierce competition. It is the definition of a high-growth, high-risk situation. And you gotta remember, we're not talking about a decade of growth here. This has all happened in like a 2-year sprint. They only went public in late 2023, and since then, it has been nonstop, delivering huge projects, raising more money, signing massive new deals. The pace is absolutely breathtaking. So we end right back where we started. Is Basilic Fly Studio a high-growth star that's just rocketing towards dominating the industry? Or is it more of a high-wire act, balancing this incredible speed with some pretty significant financial risks? For now, the next chapter of this incredible story is still unwritten.